Hello, hello. I'm Christy Forsyth. This is your weekly reading where we talk all about what to expect out of the energy this week. So, I'm going to help you to understand through the messages that I've connected with, through the things that I'm feeling in the energy. And then we're going to build upon those messages with a tarot card pull to bring all of it together. So, if you're somebody who feels energy or you're just trying to figure out what the heck is going on in the world around you, this is the reading for you. And I'm going to be shaking it up a little bit. I'm adding in some different things that came through as part of the channeled messages. So you'll see what I mean as we get through it. This week is about moving forward. We continue to be in this process of shedding, of releasing. And I don't think that we're done just yet with that. I think that this is going to be a journey of working on closing old doors, closing old patterns, old habits, old ways. And so you probably will still find yourself in that process of doing some things. Are you guys noticing that you're closing some things out, that cycles are coming to an end, that you're allowing yourself to begin to let go, to begin to release, to begin to move forward? Are you finding that things are happening for you, that you're having these tower moments where things are just closing out for you if you haven't closed it out yourself, right? Some things are happening right now that are happening for us, but we may find ourselves having a hard time with that right now, not understanding why it's happening. I want you to just, as best you can, though, lean into all that is happening, all that is developing, because it is happening for us. And I personally feel like there's a lot of magic here in this energy. I want to remind you, as I've been talking about, that we are closing out, as we're working toward closing out the year. And this is a 9-year numerology, which is all about endings and closing things out. But we also, in Chinese astrology, are in the year of the snake. So that's about shedding our skin and allowing ourselves to grow and develop into something new. But keep in mind too that we don't start the Chinese New Year until mid-February. And so we're going to be moving into the year of the fire horse, which is going to be a much faster forward moving energy. So we're still going to be here as we're wrapping up this year and as we're moving into the new year with some of that old stuff that we're still working on closing out. And it also, I find, like, we don't get like these nice, neat little cutoffs in terms of timelines, right? There tends to be a transitional period. So we're kind of in that right now. So the best, it's best if you can allow yourself to not hang on to anything too tightly. We are officially past the post Mercury retrograde retroSHADE. So we're moving past that now and officially in this energy that is going to start to feel like it's moving forward. We've like slowly but surely been letting go of these retrogrades, which energetically can feel like they slow us down, can feel like things are not happening, things are not developing. And we're still very much in an energy of these important truths that are coming to the surface. These might be truths that you're recognizing that are true for you and things that you need to understand about yourself, about your path, about what you actually want, that you're being encouraged, once you have that clarity on, to take action, to move forward on. And I think that especially now that we're moving out of this Mercury retrograde retroSHADE, we're going to find that that's actually happening, right? Like that we're connecting with clarity, that we're understanding actions that we're needing to take, or maybe we're understanding truth about circumstances that are happening in our life, or truth about something that we've been trying to process in the past. I think there's a lot of opportunities for healing in this energy, and especially healing old things. It's kind of like we're being given these gifts of things. So we're maybe like we're having conversations that mean a lot, that give us that understanding and that clarity that we need. Maybe we are just revisiting some things and it's helping us to close some things out once and for all. again, maybe there is truth that's coming to the surface that's helping us to understand things from a different perspective, or maybe even forcing us to look at things from a different perspective. That's certainly been my experience. A lot of what has shown up in regard to truth has really forced my hand, but a lot of what is forcing our hand or forcing us to move in a different direction, or to move forward, or to let go, or to take some kind of action. It's doing that for a reason. It's doing that for a purpose. It's allowing us to move forward in the ways that we need. So, part of our job right now is to just allow ourselves to be in this place of as much detachment as possible. If you're trying to control this energy, that's not going to work very well right now. There are pockets of energy, right, where we're very much in a place of putting intentions out there and rapidly manifesting things. But what we have to understand about our power as a co-creator is, like, when you understand the way that the energy is happening, then you're going to understand what manifestation strategies are going to help to get you what it is that you need. And right now, that strategy is essentially no strategy but detachment. Choosing to take a step back, choosing to say, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where this is going, but I'm going to choose to surrender this to my higher power. And that detachment is also going to require you to refocus your energy, refocus your attention. And I think this week, especially, that attention needs to be on becoming the future version of yourself. I call this video Shedding the Past, Becoming the Future, right? So this is about focusing on becoming that future version of yourself that you want to be right now, here in the present moment. And that is where you want to be putting your energy. You don't want to be putting it on worry. You don't want to be putting it too much on obsessing over a specific outcome and the outcome that you want it to happen. Instead, it's like, how can I show up right now as at least closer to this version of myself that I want to become? Right? So if you are someone who's really wanting to be, say, a healthier version of yourself, what does that look like right now in terms of actions? How does a healthier version of myself behave? Maybe that version of myself goes to the gym more often. Maybe that version of myself puts a little bit more effort in at the gym or something, or is more consistent with that. Maybe that version of me eats a different way than the version of me has been eating lately. If you're looking for money, for example, you're wanting to bring more money into your experience, how does that person that has all of this abundance flowing to them think, feel, behave, move? Just thinking about all of those different things. And I think this is a really great week to, like, sit down and actually break that down, write that down, and explore that, because we're getting close. We're going to shift into Capricorn season here at the end of this week. And Capricorn season is about, like, goals and taking a look at that. And I can already feel that energy coming in. And so it's a good time for you to take a look at that and, like, okay, like, how do I break this down, and what does this look like? And what are some steps that I can be taking right now that are going to support that? If I want to be more successful with my YouTube channel, well, what does the successful version of Christy show up as with her YouTube channel? Like, all kinds of different things, and taking those actions. So it's a good place to put that energy and to help to support you from detaching from a specific outcome. Because if you're trying to force a specific outcome right now, it's just not going to work. You can still put your intentions out there, but let it unfold. Let yourself be shown, because I feel like right now we also need to be letting ourselves be moved by. I was saying how this entire year for me feels like an eclipse season, right? And in an eclipse season, I always say that during eclipses, this energy has a way of, like, picking us up from current situations that maybe we're not destined to be in, and putting us down where we need to be. And so you might find yourself in some surprising places, right? And what that can look like in real life is you might all of a sudden try something new and you realize later, like, you are exactly where you needed to be and you're experiencing exactly the things that you need to be, or putting certain people on our path that we're destined to connect with, that we're meant to meet with, so that we can learn something from them or have an experience with them or whatever that is, right? So allowing that process to happen. And certainly you have free will. So if you find yourself being moved either away from something or towards something, or maybe you're even like, I don't really even know where I'm at. I'm kind of in that place where I feel myself being moved, but I don't really know the direction that that's heading at, but I'm allowing myself to be moved, and I'm just intuitively letting my steps, my choices, my actions reflect where I intuitively feel like I need to be. So we can like choose to not allow that. We can choose to fight against that. I think that's going to be exhausting. And if you're really feeling exhausted, you might be doing that. You might be trying to control it too much. You might be too attached to a specific outcome. So if you can choose even a little bit to let go and let yourself be moved, you can do that. Or you can choose not to, and you can move against the energy and try to push your way back in that direction. But what I think that we're missing out on is that there are real blessings here in these spaces and places, wherever it is that we're being moved. So we don't want to fight against that if we can help it, right? Like if you can like set your ego aside a little bit and just let yourself be shown and moved. And again, focusing on this embodiment piece of that, like, how do I become this version? How do I do this, right? I also think part of this detached energy is that we need to be asking for God, the universe, whatever that is for you, to surprise us right now, right? We're very close. For those who celebrate Christmas, we're very close to Christmas. And it's a perfect time to say energetically, please send me some Christmas presents. Show me, surprise me with where this needs to go. And I think the more that you say, hey, I'm open, please surprise me, it's going to help to show you the path, and it's going to help you to be moved where you need to be, in front of who you need to be moved in front of, or to have the experiences that you're meant to have that much sooner and that much easier. So surprise me, asking for that, and trying our best to catch ourselves whenever we're trying to control it. You know, when you're trying to like check, are you trying to check on your manifestations again and again and again in some way? Are you trying to, check your bank account again and again and again? Or are you trying to um, check somebody's social media again and again and again? Or are you watching too many tarot readings? Like, however that shows up for you. Are you weighing yourself too much? If you're like focusing on your progress with that, like whatever that is, like, are you checking too much? And can you just take a step back and again focus on the embodiment of who do I need to be? What version of myself, not a version of someone else, but a version of yourself, do I need to be in order to allow this to happen? And can I back off on the checking to energetically get out of the way to allow for things to develop? We also have this new moon coming up this week. It's a new moon in Sagittarius, and this is a really beautiful time. It's coming up on the 19th for you to take a look at, what are my intentions, right? So this isn't about not being intentional. You can put your intentions out there. New moons are a perfect time period for that. So today, and we're already starting to hit into that new moon energy, and up until about 3 days afterwards. So essentially this entire week is a really good time to be intentional, but I want you to be intentional and also say, surprise me, right? Like this or something better is what I'm looking for. Yeah, surprise. Yeah, like we want beautiful, beautiful surprises. I see people saying, surprise me. Yeah, beautiful surprises. And we want to be open to allowing this process to happen. I also think around, this is a new moon in Sagittarius. So it's a really great time for you to think about, if my life was more of an adventure, how would I want to be more adventurous with my life? How would I want to be more adventurous through my day? How would I want to be more adventurous through my life, through in the way that I show up in relationships? How would I want to be more adventurous in the way that I manage my finances? Like, how do I make my life more of an adventure, less worrying, more adventure, right? And it's a good time to set intentions around that. But I also think it's just a good time to reflect on that. We also have the solstice, and we will shift into Capricorn season on the 21st. And to me, the solstice is the winter solstice is such a beautiful day, because it's a day meant to reflect on the fact that even though it's the day of the longest night, right? Of the most darkness. And it's meant to represent that even though there are times that we experience significant amounts of darkness, there will always be light. The sun is always going to come up, even on the longest night. And so even if you've been really deep in your shadow work, and you've been really deep in maybe heaviness or darkness, or like this shedding period has been really hard for you. I've been working through a lot of stuff, right? And I know so many of you have been too. There's always going to be light. And every day from that point forward, literally will get lighter. And I think that we have a lot to look forward to with that. So one thing that I added to these readings that I wanted to share with you is, and we'll try this out, we'll see how you guys like it, but I wanted to come up with, I just asked, I felt really compelled to come up with this. So I asked, okay, so if I'm supposed to do this, what is it that I'm meant to share? And this is what I came up with, is that there's going to be a word of the week, and the word of the week is embodiment. Right? To focus on embodiment. So let that be your anchor word. Let that be a word of a reminder for you all week long to keep coming back to, like, okay, like, how do I show up as this version of myself? Right? Embodiment. And then the number that I got, because there's going to be a number for the week as well. The number of the week is angel number 777. And that came through. 777 for me is about luck. Right? It's about lucky breaks. It's about surprises coming in. So it doesn't surprise me that 777 came through. And it's also about just being aware and strategic at how you are navigating things, right? And it's okay to not have to like rush into anything or force anything. It's like allowing it to happen. And then when you do have clarity, being strategic around that. So it makes a lot of sense that 777 is coming up. And so the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys before we dive into the tarot cards is the sign of the week. So how I want you to use the sign of the week is I want you to look for it. I want you to use that reticular activating system, basically what you look for in the world around you. And I want you to look for this, that when it shows up for you, it is going to be a sign that, number one, these messages are for you. Also, that your guides and angels are with you and that they are supporting your journey. And it's also going to just be that reminder that there is so much magic in the world and that we are so divinely guided and supported. So the symbol or the sign for the week is birds on a wire. That can show up actual birds on a wire. That can be an image of birds on the wire. You might have already seen that today and noticed that and said, hey, that feels like a sign. Okay. So birds on a wire. So the word is embodiment. The sign is 777. And the sign is birds on a wire. So check that out, or look for that as you're going through your week, and know that that's an extra message for you. So I did pull an oracle card today because I felt really called to do that. And the card that I pulled is the Nothing is Impossible card. And this is so on point. It says, open to the unexpected, you'll find a way. And I feel like this is us finding a way, but I also feel like this is like God will find a way. God will find a way to bring to what is absolutely destined for you, meant for you, best for you, part of the biggest, most beautiful picture for you. So I want you to keep that in mind, and also maybe hold that idea in your mind. Nothing is impossible, right? So stop holding ourselves back with like believing that things aren't happening, or by talking about how things aren't happening, or by talking out loud about the things that we're worried about, that kind of stuff. Instead, come back to this idea of, no, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible, but also I'm going to let myself be moved and guided and shown, and let all of this develop. Okay, let's dive into the tarot cards. I've already shuffled the deck. I'm going to just pull right from the top because that is how I've set my intention. Okay, So we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. I'll go through and explain what these mean later. We have the Nine of Pentacles upright. We have the Hermit in reverse. The Two of Swords in reverse. The Page of Wands in reverse. And the Five of Swords in reverse. So what stands out to me the most is we continue to be in this energy of waiting to take action until you feel really clear on some things. Okay. So it's okay to sit back. It's okay to take our time. It's okay to just let ourselves be in this detached flow of allowing things to unfold and let the answers come to us as they do, right? So this is a little bit like we don't have to do a lot, but what we do, we want to make sure that we are focusing on like, how do I embody this future version of myself right now? Okay. So first off, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. Okay. So this has us taking a look at, where are my boundaries? Do I need to set boundaries? And there might be, in some cases, like a total cutoff. I think like what is happening here is that so many things are being shown to us. This doesn't resonate for me anymore. This doesn't align for me anymore. This doesn't belong in my life anymore. I don't want to explore this connection anymore. I don't want to explore this job anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. So I think that like that's really being highlighted in a lot of ways. And this is just saying, when you're ready, take action on that. Set the boundary, walk away, close that out. But I also feel like this is us. This feels like going inward, right? And deciding like, what is it that we don't do anymore? What is it that we don't want to be doing anymore? That we don't want to, like, what are some habits that you want to close out and leave here in 2025? What are some ways of thinking? What are some patterns? Like, what don't you want to do anymore? And I think it's really powerful to say, I don't do that anymore, but this is what I do. And what you're doing is the embodied version of the person that you're wanting to become, right? So I don't eat foods like that anymore. I eat foods that are like this or something like that, right? So I think that there's real power in taking a look at that, because we have then this Nine of Pentacles. We're thinking about, how do I become the best version of myself? Not a different version of myself that somebody else wants me to be, but how do I honor my truth and who I am and what I want? And how do I step into that? I think it's a really brave thing in this energy to willingly step into that and to be really honest with ourselves about what has to be different, what we need to change, what we need to shift, where maybe we have abandoned ourselves in the past, where we have made, I'm going to call them mistakes in the past, but are they really mistakes? Because if you learn from it, then it isn't really a mistake, right? It's an opportunity for growth. And so I think that we're looking at a lot of these opportunities for growth. Man, I have a lot of like spam comments that are happening here today. I'm glad that people are seeing this video. That's fantastic. But interesting. So I might have people who are trying to like sell you guys stuff. Know that that's not me. I don't do that in the comments. Okay. Then we have the Hermit in reverse. We're coming out of this hermit mode. We're coming out of like the retrogrades are over, like we've been slowly but surely coming out of this. We're coming out of the post Mercury retrograde retroSHADE period, right? And so we're starting to come out. We're starting to like look around and to figure out, okay, so if I'm moving forward, what does that look like? And maybe now we're coming forward with that enlightenment, with that clarity, with that truth. And if it has not come yet, it will come. It is coming. It is happening. So pay attention to all that is coming to the surface. And again, try not to fight against it with your ego. Allow it to unfold. we have this Two of Swords in reverse. And what I feel like this is saying is like, don't box yourself in with what you perceive as the only solution to a situation. Be open to the solutions that are showing up in your experience, because if you're paying attention, solutions are showing up in your experience. I've had so many sessions with clients and even my own experiences where I'm putting an intention out there to understand something, to have clarity on something, and it is coming. It is coming in. Like, we're being shown things, or we're being shown what the answer is, what the direction is that we need to go in. And what we can do is we can choose to like shut that down and ignore that because we may not like the truth, or it might not feel like what we expected, the direction that we needed to go in. But if we're really honest with ourselves, we know that we're keeping ourselves boxed in or stuck or too focused on just one solution or two solutions. So this is about opening your mind and being open to lots of different scenarios. You don't have control over it anyway. So let it be an adventure, let it unfold, let yourself be shown where this needs to go. But we might be digging our heels in a little bit with that, because we have this Page of Wands in reverse, and the Page of Wands like wants to go on an adventure, wants to go after things and do things. But I kind of feel like in this energy, part of us is like, maybe I'm going to just like hold back on that a little bit. And I think that we need to be willing to do that when we know what the direction that we're being guided to go on. Okay. So I do think it's like one step, one foot in front of the other, moving forward in the direction that you feel like you need to go. And even if you don't know where the path is going, and letting yourself go on the adventures, but it's also okay to kind of continue to let this marinate. I do think like the energy is going to be moving forward this week quite a bit more. And so when you feel inspired, when you know the direction that you need to go, this is going to be flipped upright and you're going to head in the direction of something that you're excited about. This may also be some kind of message that comes in for you that you don't like, or a message about an action that you're like, I don't know, like that kind of scares me. That's different than I expected. But I also think you're going to feel pretty clear on it. So unless you're choosing to bury your head in the sand, you're going to want to take action on that, and trusting that even if you're being led into uncharted territory, you're being led there for a reason. So trusting it. It might be intimidating. It might be scary. It might feel vulnerable, but I want you to let yourself be moved with that. And the last card that we have here, remember, nothing is impossible, especially this week. We got that nothing is impossible card. Then we have the Five of Swords. So we might be taking a look this week at some ways that we've been hurt, and maybe even ways that we've hurt other people too, right? I kind of get the energy of making amends and responsibility here this week, and having some really clear conversations about that. And that might be part of the truth that's coming to the surface, is apologies, is people taking responsibility. But I also want you to keep yourself in mind, and like, do you owe any apologies, or is there anything that has been unsaid that really, if you're honest with yourself about your truth, needs to be said? This is also a warning about handling situations in a way that at the end of the day is going to sit right with your soul. And you might be finding yourself, like, if there have been situations where you didn't take the high road, where you didn't handle it in a way that you can feel good about, you might be inspired this week to try to rebalance that in some way as well. So be open to all of it. It's a beautiful journey. I think there's a lot of gifts in this energy. I think there are a lot of really beautiful surprises. I'm not emphasizing that enough. There are amazing surprises that are happening. And I think a lot of instant manifestations where you say something and it happens. But again, be open to that happening in a different way, be opening to that looking differently than you expected, and be paying attention to the number of the week, the sign of the week, and focusing on anchoring yourself with that word of the week. So thank you guys so much. Let me know what you think. Let me know how this resonates for you, especially if you made it all the way to the end. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. And I am going to be doing a little journey. I decided, you know what? Like, I love all the magical things and I want to expand upon my own magical abilities. And I've been seeing some things coming up with like telekinesis stuff lately. So I feel really pulled to go on my own little telekinesis journey. Oh, good. New sub. Thank you. To go on my own little telekinesis journey. And so I'm going to be, especially on my Instagram. So it's at Christy Clarity is my Instagram. You'll find it in the link below. Follow that because I'm going to be sharing a little journey of me trying to work on some telekinesis, and maybe nothing will happen. Maybe something will, but I'm going to go through a little journey and work on that a little bit at a time. And I would love to have you guys watch and maybe join along, maybe be inspired to do it yourself. We're going to play with it. We're going to have fun with it, and it's going to be magical. So make sure you subscribe there. I will try to share that on my YouTube as well. But Instagram is going to be the big place where I'm going to be doing that. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking this video out, for subscribing, for hearting this video, liking this video, sharing this video with the people who need to hear these messages. I love you all, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care. Bye.